Hello, you're listening to Otaku Spirit Animecast. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined here with Chris.
Yo.
Today's episode is a discussional podcast episode. We'll talk about the news that seems important to us, then dive into our community, answer some great questions from our community members, and then say goodbye. So how was the last week, Chris?
Yeah.
We finally got done with all the first impressions. We got done with the music. We could finally move on to other things.
Are you sure?
No, it's probably going to be reviews in like 2 weeks. I don't know. Not very far away, like what, a little bit over 3 weeks? No, yeah, about 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Wouldn't surprise me. It seems like we're almost at the end of all these shows. So.
Arc Knights is done this week, so that's the first to do.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was only 8 episodes. Unfortunately, only 8 episodes. But like I said before, if they could tell the story in that time, stick to it.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of these shows are starting to wind up to final arcs. So it seems like it's about that time right now.
So good? How you?
Yeah.
I know we got sidetracked for a minute there.
Well, I'm good at doing that. I mean, I don't know how you're not surprised by that by now.
Give me a few more podcast episodes. We're only like, what, 800 or something like that.
And then you'll finally figure it out.
Finally figure it out.
If you haven't figured it out over the course of our entire lives and, you know, few hundred episodes, I don't know how.
Few.
Few.
Oh, you're doing the undefined few number. It's been a decently crazy week for me. Internets. ISPs suck. It's not like ISPs are terrible, because if it works, it's great. But in the moment it doesn't work, and then you suddenly have to actually contact them, then you suddenly don't like them, because then you realize, oh, I really don't like these people, because now I have to converse with them, and they're a horrible company.
I have to poke a little fun, seeing as how we're bringing up the internet, and that includes cable, and that I've been kind of down the road that I've been driving. There's this empty lot that, let's just say there's a building that's not there anymore. And I see constantly a satellite company's van sitting out there all lonely, like almost every day.
Are we saying quote unquote satellite
might
van?
Be dead or is in the process?
Breaking down. Yeah, it started last Wednesday, and it's one of those things where I don't realize how everything I do is so centered around how fast my content is uploaded.
Yeah.
Because the moment that thing becomes an issue, suddenly everything breaks. Like, my typical file size for like a standard video for a week is like, I don't know, 10 gigabytes, say. And when I used to be able to upload it in 5 minutes at the most, now suddenly that same file size takes 2.5 hours. Suddenly I can't do what I used to do. I have to downres it, or not downres it, but I have to break down the quality to where it's only maybe a gig or two in file size, which then depletes the quality. And then I can finally upload it at maybe 20 minutes. And then I have to still worry about the fact that once it gets uploaded and I do my double checks, nothing's wrong, that I have to upload it again, because I had that issue with my video this Sunday for Therese. Like, I uploaded it. I set the upload at the highest quality, and then later on I went to go check it, and it was broken. The video itself was broken and encoded wrong. And so now I'm like staying up all night to re-encode it and upload it again and wait for it to upload and check it again. And it's like, gosh, I feel like I got nothing done this week just because it's constantly just trying to keep up and get things uploaded fast enough. Mushoku Monday, they're about 60 gigabytes in size. The Mushoku Mondays that I do, which are like, upwards of 2-hour videos. I just left it on overnight. The upload was just left on overnight. I didn't want to down quality that one, so I left it on overnight. Next morning I got up and it was still at like 85%.
Jeez.
It was terrible. But yeah, it's not just that. It's the fact that I have to call the company daily to get them to push to the next step. Okay, you sent somebody here, they didn't fix it, what's next? Okay, we'll send somebody tomorrow. Okay, next day, guy comes, they don't fix it, and then I have to call them again and set up the next day. And it's like I'm having to constantly keep on them. And I at some point told them, like, just send somebody here, and they don't leave until it's fixed. How about that? Send somebody that's actually a higher up, somebody that can get into every one of those cabinets down the street, every box down the street. Send one person and designate them to fix the problem. Simple as that. Stop kicking the can down the road and telling me to reset the router 50 freaking times. And it's more frustrating when you know IT, like you know what they're talking about,
Exactly.
and you know more than it seems like some of these people do. One lady was like, I increased the frequency on your Wi-Fi. Lady, you didn't hear me. I said I'm connected Ethernet. That is a physical wire to the box. You increasing something boodly bloop that you called it something. I doubt you even fixed anything. You just said that and hoped that it fixed it.
And hoped that I didn't know. And hoped that I didn't know what you were saying.
Yeah, a lot of it just really feels like they're stalling you until hopefully maybe the problem was just a temporary thing.
Yeah, I actually I had when I was at that shop earlier, they were complaining about the competitor that you were mentioning that you were considering going back to. They're still having problems. So
oh yeah, no doubt.
Especially with the rain coming through.
Eventually, I want the rain was always a thing because they always got the water in the box down the street.
Yep.
It's eventually, sadly, I will want to have both because that way, if it's
you could like
it bugged me so much that I told everybody last week I was going to do a live stream on Thursday, and I was so excited for it. I even got that box that it got in, which we're going to keep a secret until that time. Got a box in.
Which that person, by the way, asked why you forgot the other part over at my place. So
I forgot a part over there?
Yeah. He thought that was going to be in with the opening as
well. The video?
Yeah.
But no, anyways. Yeah, when I set that all up, I was excited. And I told a few people during the Mushoku Monday that I was going to have a live stream. And we're going to do the tier list for the best girl. A lot of fun whenever we do the best girl tier list. Nope. Packet loss. The amount of frames that were dropping were just thousands upon thousands. I'm like, I can't do this. It seems like that's parts fixed, but the upload speed is still terrible. So at least I can possibly live stream this week if it doesn't croak again. And then we'll get to talk to the tech again tomorrow. And again, there's the other thing is I have to sit around and wait for this tech to get here. Then I have to sit around with the tech while he pokes at things for 5 hours. It's just all around. It's just a big waste of time. And it more sucks when you waste that time and nothing gets fixed. That's the bigger issue. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, my whining. But I mean, that, like I said, that was massive stress. Like all week was massive stress with that. I'm just like, I was surprised I got the Treese video out this Sunday because I was going to cancel it. Like I just can't keep up with everything else. I still got to do my Japan rankings for best anime of the season so far. I still got to do that whole thing. It's just like so much stuff that I'm just backing up like crazy. So anyways, that was Andrew's whining corner. Hope you guys enjoyed Andrew's wine corner. The struggles of a aspiring YouTuber. But yeah, a lot of other crazy stuff happened this week. Just like literally yesterday night or maybe this morning, apparently a K-pop idol did something bad.
Wow.
They watched Made in Abyss.
I thought K-pop people were perfect.
I thought so, but then suddenly I seen Made in Abyss is trending and I'm like, I don't know if I want to click that. And I click on it and it's like, yeah, probably shouldn't have clicked that. It is sadly one of those things where I see with social media anymore, I could so easily make my YouTube channel into the latest YouTube or the latest x.com or social media outburst because it's literally like every single day there's the next thing that somebody has complained about that just it seems like a nothing. It seems like it is something that somebody created and then everybody has to comment on how they don't like that person's upset. And then it almost turns into like with this whole Made in Abyss thing. You have, hey, somebody posts, hey, there's a clip where he said to watch that he watched Shikimori, Komi-san, Jizukaisan, Oji-san. I think he mentioned Berserk as well and Made in Abyss. He's been watching this stuff and he suggested it. And then you have this person that replies and says, that's horrible. He watched Made in Abyss. And he's telling other people to watch it. That's a disgusting show that is pushing the child stuff. And
that's what I was going to ask.
And how dare they? And then it seems like I'm looking for the outrage because there are people saying that there's outrage. I found one post. This person that says like, apology won't even fix this. And then it has all these people that were like, yelling about how that's a stupid take. And it's like, so is it really that big of a deal? Like it turns into one of those things where suddenly something of one person outrages, and it feels like 99% of the discourse around it is people saying that the guy's stupid. And so it's like, is it really a big deal? Is it really controversial? Is this really bad? Is this enough to make articles and YouTube videos and everything about it? I'm obviously talking about it here, but my point more is in not the controversy of that these K-pop stans are crazy, but more in the topic of, is it really that big of a deal? Is there enough people upset at him for watching Made in Abyss to warrant this all day people constantly talking about it on social media? Is it really that big of a deal? It almost feels like sometimes a lot of this stuff is kind of manufactured. Like somebody was even mentioning the idea there's a possibility that probably the first person that posted probably just botted the likes and stuff. It's like, how do you measure that stuff? Sometimes whenever I do videos on stuff that happens like this, similar stuff like this, like say for instance the whole thing with Magical Senpai, it's like really trying to look into it and finding out how big this is. And the reason I made a video on Magical Senpai is because I seen that there was enough threads around the whole situation that it warranted even talking about. Because otherwise, just one person saying, "Oh, she made NTR of my favorite waifu," isn't enough. It just seems like, yeah, I can make videos all day on that stuff. I don't want to be that channel though.
I think it's partially manufactured. I mean, it seems to be kind of commonplace to nip out one or two people that are saying something and say there is a quote unquote backlash at this.
Twitter is outraged.
Outraged. There's two people that are mad.
Here we go. Let's see. That's what happens whenever I see videos like that, where it's like Twitter lost their minds, and I click on it, and it's like this person tweeted about this, and I'm like, okay, who else? Oh, that's it. Okay. Twitter lost their minds, apparently.
And you almost wonder if it's like their buddy.
It's like early days of
the author's buddy that typed that, or he himself
right.
in a pseudonym.
Right, manufactured outrage. No, it's like, it kind of reminds me a lot of like early days of the news outlets finally discovering Twitter exists. And so they would put up this tweet, crazy thing happened, blah, blah, posted this, and it like has on the bottom likes 1 and like replies 0 and then retweets 0, and it's like, people are going crazy about this tweet right here, and it's like nobody's even responding to that tweet, nobody's interacting with it. Did you just search for somebody's name and say, oh, somebody's outraged? Like, hey, we need to make a video, we need to make a news broadcast on what are people saying about Bill Clinton, and they search Bill Clinton on Twitter and go, oh, there's a tweet, people outraged, look at posted on the screen. It's ridiculous. It's literally like early days, like discovery of Twitter, that we blow up things so much to the point where it becomes more than the actual original post.
You know, side note, I'm glad I'm not hearing people say hashtag no more.
I don't really necessarily think it's kind of become like a background thing. I mean, yes, that people still say it. They say trendings typically. They don't say hashtags. They say trendings. This is trending. They don't say the hashtag this is trending. They just say this is trending, which I guess is a good thing. It's just like getting rid of www. You just have to say www all the time. www. Anyways, that controversy aside, I will say that I looked into it a little bit. It's this guy named Woozy, which is the K-pop artist. I'm sure I'm probably saying his name wrong, and the K-pop stands will come after me because, yeah, while I was looking through those threads and stuff, it's like, I'm reminded how I don't have a problem with them doing what they do. Like, you do you, but at the same time, K-pop stan Twitter feeds scare me. Because it's just constantly, like, everything is just, like, these, like, portrait scale shots of who they're standing.
Yeah.
And it's just random videos of, and it's crazy whenever you're looking into like random threads. Like you see somebody post like, I just lost my dog, and then everybody's replying saying, you know, rip, sorry to hear. And then somebody says, man, I'm really sorry about that. But then it has a video of a K-pop star dancing on stage. It's like, you don't have to put the video of the K-pop stand in everything you post. Do they have it like an app that does, like an API that automatically does that? Just feeds whenever you post something, it automatically adds a video of K-pop star?
I honestly don't know.
Have you noticed that? It's literally everywhere. They
noticed,
say something, and then there's a K-pop video.
I have noticed the K-pop, the
I know what they're doing.
Of the K-pop.
It's like it's spreading the name of them.
It's funny because when I for those that don't know, I do have a Twitter.
Those who know, know.
Those who know.
You also have a Discord.
Those who don't know. The funny thing about it is I started my my Twitter when we first started Otaku Spirit, and I was trying to build. It was at the time when Twitter was the big thing, and so you would go on and
because it's not anymore, right?
And you would follow the crap out of everybody, and then you would have these kind of circular. Following things, so you'd follow people and then they'd follow you back automatically.
Yeah, mutuals.
And it at some point my Twitter just became absurd. And one of the things that I bumped into is I have a lot of K-pop people that are on my follow, and even though I've been trying to delete, not in mean way, but get people off my follow list, I still have just an absurd amount. And in particular, I look at my Twitter and I just have gobs and gobs of K-pop stuff. I don't know if it's all one person.
You could probably sell that account for a lot of money,
right?
All this, I don't even have to find people. It's all here already.
At least I finally got a lot of the X-rated stuff out of my feed. Luckily, I still have a lot of it, but yeah. I got a lot of weird crap in my Twitter. so
everybody's like,
everybody,
why would you go after that? Everybody's like, yeah, you should get rid of all that K-pop stuff. Yeah, get rid of that stuff. Wait, the X-rated? What? Why would you want to get rid of that? wait, what are you doing?
It's probably not the X-rated you think it is.
Oh, it's different. It's that X-rated. It depends on what you're after, I guess.
There's a lot of different X-rated on Twitter.
Depending on what you're after. It is X.com, Chris.
It is X now.
Anyways, K-pop stands aside. Did we talk about the whole Vice thing? Did you hear that the Vice manga hit piece?
Please, by all means, tell me.
Did you hear that they won that Emmy? We talked about it before. That Vice hit piece on Japan and how their manga industry needs to censor all this horrible stuff, and they did a bunch of dumb stuff on they lambasted a sitting chairman. They pretty much went illegally, filmed inside of a shop that was posted. Blurred out a bunch of manga covers that weren't even inappropriate just to make it look like it was full of prawn. Yeah, they won the Emmy. So
good for them. I'm glad that
Hollywood being Hollywood.
The Emmys are continuing their distinguished.
They're choosing words. Why are you like censoring yourself?
No, I'm not.
You don't want to say anything too inappropriate. They'll do a hit piece on us.
I'm trying to get the right word. Please, by all means.
Thankfully, I think they went out of business.
Do a massive hit piece on us.
I think particularly their group went out of business.
That would probably make us like skyrocket into like.
That'd be great.
Exactly.
I would have
by
so much
all
fun
means,
with that. Have her come in here and sit down and hand me an inappropriate manga, and I tell her, "You do know you're in the United States and you didn't get arrested for that, right?" Okay, let's just make sure that's clear before we continue this conversation. Maybe she could try to find. It'll be one of those things that, like, her whole hit piece will be probably like
why we're defending it.
No. It'll be something like what you have to do. What she did there basically is she essentially found a topic, something inappropriate, like how this is a perfect thing. Crunchyroll is inundating young kids with inappropriate and lewd content in order to twist their minds to be perverted. Like, they're literally over there, like what she did over there was essentially that the industry itself was giving people this content that was, obviously around young characters and inappropriate things, and that it was making people be that. So they were essentially training them, so to speak. So it could be the same thing over here. See, Crunchyroll is providing content that is kind of similar with young characters in inappropriate ways. I mean, 100 Girlfriends this week, man, that got crazy. So people watching Crunchyroll over here, it's essentially polluting their minds too. So they'll come in here to try to make that case. But the way that she'll point it is that she'll take out her phone and she'll open up the Crunchyroll app. and she'll set it out in front of me and go, doesn't that make you, isn't that the reason why you are the way you are? You're actually into this stuff, aren't you? It's because of Crunchyroll, right? It's Crunchyroll's fault. Because that's literally what she did to that guy. There was that guy that was a convicted predator. And she literally put the manga out there. And he's like, yeah, I started reading these things in college. But he said that he touched somebody before then. He was already a predator. And then she's trying to say it's this thing's fault, isn't it? That's why I don't like the fact that I got an Emmy. It's like that it's so much misinformation in there. It's painting an incorrect picture. And it's giving a fault to the wrong thing.
Yeah.
They're literally saying this object is why you are the way you are. Not because you broke the law and did it. Literally before you even started reading them. That's why I hate it so much. But yeah, they want it. But as I kind of pointed out, with the fact that their Vice website's full of apologetic stuff to predators, and the fact that, you know, Hollywood's not been known for having the most pristine people within it around children, I wouldn't doubt that they wanted people to be looking at Japan, not themselves. So
yeah,
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. They like people yelling at Japan and not looking at them. Anyways, that happened, and that ticked me off. That was like a ruined day when that came up, but I knew it was coming. I just knew it was coming. It was. I think what makes it work so well as a piece is that so many people that watch it don't understand what they're looking at.
No.
So it's easy to deceive them into thinking that what they've made there.
That was what the.
It was great production.
NBC that did that too.
Did what?
Did the exact same thing? Was it NBC or CBS?
They probably all done stuff on anime and manga. Mm-hmm. That was a period of time where it was like anime and manga was like a beating post for all these companies. They loved going after that stuff. It was just easy. It was an easy target.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, everybody's going to be outraged about this whole thing.
Well, and
if you defend it, you're okay with it, right?
It puts people in a catch-22 situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I have with my videos. It was like I want to make it clear, I'm not reading what she has in her hand there, but I'm not going to say take away their freedoms. I'm not going to be the one that's staring over somebody's shoulder and saying, that cartoon, yeah, that looks like it's probably 14 years old. What? Why is it 14 years old? It's like, who's aging Mickey Mouse? How old's Mickey Mouse? Who's going to determine how old?
Now?
Right. It's just like Bart Simpson, right?
Bart Simpson's like 40.
It's just like Bart Simpson, right?
I'm pretty sure he's in the 40s range now because
who's going to be that person? Who's going to be the person that sees Bart Simpson and says, yeah, that's, I think, 13. That's the whole problem. That's the problem that it creates. It's not a real thing, and that's the end story there. Yeah, and you're getting rid and going to a sitting I forget what he was, but sitting chairman or whatever, and saying, "Hey, you take their freedoms away." The guy's like, "No, no, we're not going to take it unless you have scientific proof. No, we're not going to take away people's freedoms. That's not how it works here. We go based on what the people want. We're not going to take their freedoms away just because you have a naughty manga in your hands." It was just.
I do have a lot that I would love to say about that, but it's really, really frustrating, the idea that the Western, and I know that Japan is kind of technically considered a part of the Western culture, but it is an Eastern country, and us trying to, and I've said it several times, but us trying to force our moral values on them, to me, it just seems wrong. Number one, we should. It's hard enough to get ourselves straight. Nevertheless, go over to another country and tell them that they need to change the way that they're doing things. To me, that just seems even more wrong than us having our issues in ourselves.
And that's the funny thing is like the funniest thing in that video. And again, this goes to the credit of how misinformed people are about Japanese culture and law, that they would see what they created there to make any sense. She literally went to this mangaka's place, and he showed her what he draws, and she goes, if somebody was caught in America with this in their hands, they would be thrown in jail. False. purely false. Our laws themselves protect this concept. There's basically a criteria that has to be met for it to be legal to have it in your hands is that it's indistinguishable from the real thing. Cartoons and sculptures and paintings are protected by this law. You cannot be prosecuted. So, and like I joked about in my video before, it's on YouTube in American servers. You literally have in your hand, the panels are on, I think even the thumbnail has panels from that manga on it. And you're not arrested, are you? It's in American servers on YouTube.
Oh no, she's protected because she's press.
She's press, right? So she can go around taking pictures of children, right?
It's really stupid. The things that they declare is illegal, and then you are technically breaking the law, lady.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I've got freedom of the press. No, you don't. Not in that case.
Anywho, that was that whole thing. I don't care anymore. Happy news, Grandma and Grandpa Turn Young Again manga anime adaptation is going to premiere in April of 2024.
Say that again.
You remember the Oji-chan, Oba-san, the Grandma and Grandpa Turn Young Again? We talked about it a while back that manga was getting an anime adaptation where it's like the elderly couple that get, as the title would lead to believe, they get turned young again. I was about to explain that. And I'm like, it's literally the title, Chris. But yeah, I thought it looked pretty cute, at least the art itself. But yeah, that apparently is April. I don't think they have a trailer yet for it yet, but it looks fine. So we'll see.
Sounds interesting.
We'll see. What else did I have? I mean, Shibuya's coming back for the 12th season. Have you been keeping up on that?
I seen that you talked about that.
Were you keeping up on that?
I got through about 5 seasons.
Did I buy it? Or no, I think I'm thinking. No, I think I did buy it. I don't know.
I think I did. You bought Kagiwane.
No, I didn't buy Kagiwane. I don't think I bought that one because it was like it was a massive like 5 seasons. Maybe I seen it and I wanted to buy it because it was like 10 seasons or something like that in one Blu-ray. Which that sounds like hell. I mean, they're shorts, so it makes sense that they would kind of all fit there. I know I have one of those. I have a series that I bought that was like, they're shorts, but it's like a whole bunch of them in one pack. I don't remember which one it was. I'll have to look later. Now I'm curious. I don't remember which one it was. Oh no, it was my neighbor. What was that the neighbor one? The Tonari no. Is the boy that's super weird? Is the boy that's super weird and the girl's responding to everything he does?
Tonari no Seki-kun.
Okay, that was right. Okay, I wasn't sure if I got the right name. Anyways, yeah, I think it was that one because it was like what 3 seasons?
No, that was only 1 season.
Are you sure? Mm-hmm. Man, it's gonna be tease. It's gonna be tease. I swear that was the one.
It might have gotten a 2nd season.
Now you're backtracking.
No, I was trying to think about it. I think you're right. There was a 2nd season of it. I don't think it was 3 seasons though.
Yeah, single Blu-ray. 21 episodes. So that would make sense because they were shorts. They were like 10 minutes, I think. They're pretty short.
No, I thought they were. No, they might have been 10 minutes.
I can make a look at it. Length is 168 minutes. That's a half of a single core. That's super short. That's super short. So that's probably 5 minutes each.
Yeah. I don't think they were quite 3 minutes because they did have the opening or the ED, one of the two.
Yeah. What else? Saki and Peach-chan finally got a date, which is January. That was the one that's Kantaku, the artist did that one. It's the old man that he's lonely and he gets a bird and the bird's a sage that transports him to another world.
Yeah, you were talking. I listened to your video on that.
And then Call the Night.
The one you want to talk about. Come on.
What? We got something else in here? Call the Night's coming to close?
Yeah, that's kind of disappointing.
I
kind of want them to get more of the show though.
I would like one more season, but I don't think I would want to wait for a 3rd season at this point because of how long it's taken to get a 2nd season. I'm like this tempted to, if it doesn't conclude, which is supposed to, if no delays, it's going to conclude on January 10th. That's the 200th chapter. So if they don't announce another season by then, I might read it.
There you go.
I really want to get back into it. But I was waiting for another season. The anime adaptation was so freaking good. I didn't want to read it.
I need to get into continue happiness because I just random thought. So
Apparently,
I just
I really need to get to Berserk too, Chris.
you need to get to Berserk. I get you there.
I really need to get down to that Spice and Wolf.
Well, if I got the next chapter, which will be going past the anime as it is currently, so that'll be interesting to start seeing into that. But
What?
I did technically, because of the fact that I've technically already gotten into the part that everybody was saying was left out of the show. I technically already gotten that.
Oh, you're talking about Spice and Wolf.
Spice and Wolf, yeah.
Okay.
So I need to get into that so I can. No, I did already listen to it. I take that back. It was a weird side story. Very weird. 2 new characters all together, and Hollow bumps into him by herself. So it was really weird. I was not expecting that.
Super weird.
Super weird. Not well. You know how you get used to Lawrence and
The chemistry changes, yeah.
yeah. It was really weird. Not
I mean, that was
to
the sense
have
that I got
Lawrence.
with the whole later part of the whole thing with the guy trying to that challenged Lawrence to the whole bet and for her hand or whatever. He was trying to free her. And yeah, it kind of turned this whole thing where he was mostly alone for the most part.
Yeah.
And it was like, this kind of feels different, but at the same time, it was a good tension there.
And it felt really good in the light novel as well. Lawrence was really messed up because of that situation.
Yeah. I mean, I got the sense from the anime too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liar Liar's coming to conclusion too. The light novel with 15th volume. But who cares? Because the anime was so terrible. It wasn't a bad adaptation. It was a bad advertisement.
I do
Bad
Classroom.
advertisement.
I do Classroom of the Elite before I do Liar Liar.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that one's already out. So I've been debating on touching that one, but as it stands right now, didn't want to spend money on that one. I did Grace of the Gods.
There you go. Since that anime's adaptation's crap too. I think the first season was good. The first season was a good adaptation. The second season, I think, is just a bad job on it.
Grace of the Gods.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually pulls off the slice of life in the light novel as well.
Yeah. And not just going around giving people deodorant
He did do
packets.
that. He did do that.
It's like 5 episodes of that. It's like, why are
No,
we still doing this?
it didn't quite feel like 5 episodes worth, but it did.
Yeah.
It did. He did do that.
Yeah. Apparently Suzume's on Crunchyroll now. I need to watch that. I don't know. I know for sure I'm not going to get into
I've
this
been
week.
kicking around the idea of getting to that one, but I doubt that I'll get to it anytime soon.
I really want to watch it. I don't. And for a fact, it ain't gonna happen this week.
It's
But
a
I
Shinkai. That's the
kind of want to
problem.
do it. I kind of want to watch it at least before the season ends. That way, it doesn't have to wait until like next year.
I'm actually kind of curious as to what weird fetish he's got in it this time.
Chairs.
Chairs.
Chairs. I think there's a chair in it. I don't know. I think there's an age gap thing. I don't know. I have no clue. I have not really looked into anything on it. I just keep seeing the door and the girl in front of it, and then some dude, and then a chair. So I'm sure it's something important. Mm-hmm. And then Crunchyroll put a clip up on Twitter that spoiled something. So thank you. I'll keep that to myself. But I don't know what it implies. It looked like a spoiler. So, anyways, yeah, that's happening. The manga app for Crunchyroll apparently is dying. Have you been even using that lately?
Haven't in a long time.
I think the last time I used it was for Attack on Titan. I read Attack on Titan, Inside Mari.
I kept going back to Tales of the Wedding Rings.
Yeah, I was reading that on there as well. At some point I was reading most everything they had on there at Simulpub. Like I was like religious like every week checking out that app out. It had problems. Did you ever have the problem where like I was explaining where like you have it open for a while and then suddenly nothing opens and then you have to like literally close the app, not just, suspend it. You had to close it.
I've had a lot of problems with different manga apps. Yen Press is the one that, or not Yen Press. Jump is the one that's been most stable for me. Yen Press, their manga app sucks. I hate that thing. The other one, I want to say I did fine, and J Novel seems to be doing all right, but I haven't really bought anything on it. So I've just done pretty much their demos, or not demos, but free chapters here and there.
Demo. I'm sorry. I had to say it.
Demo.
I had to say it. Demo. Anyways, yeah.
She always comes into my
Demo.
I love her.
But no, anyways, yeah. The Crunchyroll has announced that they are removing the app and the web service for the manga. So all digital distribution is going away. The statement. Did you get my part with that video of the statement? The statement makes me laugh so much. They told ANN as part of Crunchyroll's ongoing commitment to providing fans with best experience around their favorite series, we will be sunsetting the manga app. Application on
I think
December 11th across the web and mobile. However, fans looking to discover new manga adventures can head over to the Crunchyroll store, where we now offer more than 17,000 manga genres.
I think here's my theory. I think that all the other companies are starting to move away from Crunchyroll.
Well, to be fair, I haven't been keeping up on it, but most people confirm pretty much what I felt when I stopped using the app, is that it all kind of started to... It felt like their offering kind of died. Like they weren't putting new stuff on there. And yes, that could be to your point in the idea that for a while now they haven't been able to get really any... Or maybe they just didn't want to buy any mangas to distribute on there. Because I'd imagine that most of these companies are like, yeah, sure, put on there.
The stupid thing is that... they need to adjust their premium because we were doing the ultimate premium for that.
Yeah, that's the other problem that a lot of people are having. They're like, well, I mean, that's part of my sub. And even they kind of point out the idea fans can enjoy other benefits to the Crunchyroll Mega Fan and Ultimate Fan membership, including Crunchyroll Game Vault, which includes a growing catalog of free-to-play titles across iOS and Android.
Where, are
minus
you getting
Princess
anything?
Connect.
Are you getting anything?
No.
I want to know, am I getting anything for having the ultimate premium for your free app?
Right, that's the weird thing. It's like, but they're games that you get on iOS and Android. There's nothing you don't... I mean, yes, you can log in, and they might have like some sort of thing where like you get, I don't know, like
am I getting extra
prisms?
Gems? Extra gems?
If you're signed in Crunchyroll for those games, do you get some extra gems? That's my assumption. But it's like the games themselves have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
The games are accessible by everybody. So I hope, yeah, if you're playing enough of those games and they give you a good enough value from like gems or something like that, it makes sense. But I just want to laugh at it because Princess Connect is not included in that game vault. Well, no, it actually, Princess Connect was in the game vault because they shut it down, but they renamed the game vault being the games that are currently published because I guess people are joking about that too much.
The thing that the reason why I bring that up is because Yen Press, it's pretty much J Novel that's soaking all those up. They are getting pretty much all those companies are kind of centering around other resources. So, like you were saying, if the Crunchyroll manga app just kind of sucks. They're like, well,
I don't think it sucked. My opinion was that it just every now and then you had to restart it, which was annoying, but it was fine.
The user base is going to go to where it's going to work, and if there's more content in another place, that was Crunchyroll's problem. Their Crunchyroll didn't. They while they started out strong, they never did get any stronger. And there you had
and it's
alternatives,
funny
and
it
those
probably
ones were
died.
doing well.
It probably died after Attack on Titan finished too. I bet they haven't really had much access because I bet when Attack on Titan was on there, people were hitting it hard. Mm-hmm. And I went back to them to read the rest of it and noticed that they didn't really have any of the older chapters in it. So they were definitely like time gated the older stuff. So, but yeah, I can see that as well. And this idea that just to kind of die away, that's kind of happening constantly. And if they're not putting anything new on there that's super big, and yes, like all the big shonens aren't on there. They had Attack on Titan, which was huge, but what else?
Yeah, Jump
going somewhere else.
Jump has that like in the ground. Yeah. You just can't beat them on shonens.
And honestly, I don't blame them. I mean, if it comes to the case of them going, look, we're not adding anything of value here, just cut it. Like it was fine at the time, and like I said, I enjoyed it. I used it a lot. I read a lot of stuff on there. But yeah, if they figure that comes to that point where they're like, look, we have to focus on this other stuff. If they don't feel their passion is on making that app good and get more content and really flesh it out, just drop it. Just walk away. I respect that.
There was aspects to the Crunchyroll app that I did really, truly love. The panel thing was fantastic, and I really do wish Jump would pick up on that. I don't think that they have ever gotten that.
Yeah, I don't recall if I've ever had that on anything else, because I do like that as well. For those that don't know, essentially what they do is when they put it into the app, they designate the slide based on each panel. So you can swipe to the right and it goes from panel to panel and it blows it up. So that you're not looking at the whole page. You're able to go to each section of each panel automatically as you swipe. It was really nice because especially if you're on a phone, it's putting it full size in your phone screen. It was really good.
And you would hope, I mean, I understand how kind of difficult that would be, because you would literally have to not only assign somebody to directly translate, then you would also have to have somebody who's directly saying this is a panel. I don't know that would necessarily be that hard, but
yeah, I don't know exactly how they went through that. I mean, they could have had that kind of program in there to somebody just takes a cropping tool and they go
that's
click,
what I was thinking.
And they drag and there's a frame and it automatically adds it. That's the next frame. That's the next frame. That's the next frame.
That's what I was figuring.
Yeah. Because it seems like it's not like it's a different screen. It's literally telling this section of this image is that panel. This section of this image is the next panel. And it's zooming in and panning to each one of them. It's not like a separate view. So
yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, that's I really badly want to say there's another place that has that, but I don't think anywhere has the Crunchyroll.
I'm not really sure. The thought had crossed my mind. Maybe it was the Dark Horse one. I think maybe they have it, but I could be wrong. But I know that Jump does. I'm pretty sure Jump doesn't.
Yeah. But yeah, that's quote unquote sunsetting on December 11th. So, rip Crunchyroll manga. Yeah, I read Inside Mario on there too. It's really good.
Yeah,
I need to buy that.
I thought we had.
No, I have Happiness. I have the Flowers of Evil, and then I have the first one of the Rails. I don't have Inside Mario because that one got licensed later by I think J Novel ? And it's Dimpa. I think Dimpa got it. And I kept meaning to get it from Dimpa, but they were kind of later on it. But yeah, that's that. That's that. Did you hear about Oreimo?
I think they were talking about, or they were watching or reading Inside Mario in the manga group or the light novel. No, it was the manga group in Discord.
Oh yeah.
I just clicked on it at random and I seen panels of it and I was like, you guys are reading Inside Mario.
Such a good series. I like his usual stuff. It kind of drags out at the end, but he's so good. He's so good at dirty.
I really, really love his ability to kind of dig into emotions and filthy emotions in particular. Now, like Andrew said, he sucks at endings. He cannot figure out how to end his shows or his stories. But
it's kind of one of those things where you sometimes wonder if it's the editor going, yeah, keep going. Yeah, we need another volume. And he's like, dude, I want to stop this. Or if it's the opposite where they're like, stop.
Just stop.
Yes, sir. At some point they say, stop. You're done, right? You're done.
How far in Happiness have you gotten?
I finished Happiness. I finished all of them except for the rail ones.
Or how did he finish that?
He had the same problem.
Had the same problem?
but Flowers Evil, Inside Mari, what's the other one? There's a third one, isn't there? Oh, I was thinking about the rail one. Both Flowers and Evils and Inside Mari, they drag out the end, but their ending's great. Happiness was the rare case where the ending didn't drag out too much, but I wasn't satisfied with the ending. It's not a bad ending. It's just not a satisfying ending. Compared to like everything else that he's done has been super great. So that is the only sting. And it might just be, I might need to reread it again at some point, but I'm not like jumping to do it. But yeah, it was If I remember, it was just not a very satisfying ending. So it's fine. I can't expect. I mean, compared to most, I think it's a really good ending. I think there's a lot of hubbub around manga never really having good endings. Like even with like School Live, sorry, with School Live, I was really impressed by how well that ended. And it's one of those series where I'm like, I don't see a way of ending this that's going to be satisfying. By the time I was getting way late in School Live, I was like, how can you end this and it actually is satisfying? Okay, you did it. Okay, you kind of did it. I kind of like this. I still got to read the after thing. I finally got the after one, so.
Yeah, I now talking about it makes me kind of get the random urge to read through all of those manga again. I really did love those.
Yeah, I really need to get into his next one. The what was it, Blood on the Rails or something like that. I have the first volume and I've yet to open it up, but I heard good things about the first volume. I don't know how well it's doing so far because I think he's still going on that one.
That'll be interesting.
But yeah, there you go. By the way, disclaimer: School Live is not by the same author. I threw that one randomly in there.
What's his name?
Oshimi or something like that.
Something
Oshimi.
If you're not getting it, that at least from me, I'm assuming Andrew as well. High praise for that author. If you're not getting it,
like I said, I think it's Oshimi. He's what I've always liked is he knows how to do disgusting and emotion really well. The feeling of filth, and the way of artistically showing expression and emotion, because he always doesn't like squiggly lines or portrayal of the characters and almost like a visual representation of that build up. It's kind of like what I was talking about, something that surprised me and it kind of reminded me a lot of it was when I was watching Yuzuki Family's Four Sons in that second episode. I think it was the second episode. The one with the two brothers that are close in age. There was the first episode about the two of them, and they were showing emotion based on like this almost scribbly expression of his inner thoughts. And I was like, God, that reminds me of Oshimi. Yeah, it is Oshimi. Shuzu Oshimi. He's so good. Just wish that Flowers of Evil was a better adaptation.
Yeah. I was going to say that.
Silent Sorrow should do a readaptation. I bet Silent Sorrow would do a really good job with that.
Bind. They did it wasn't that it was horrible. It was rotoscope, and it just didn't. I understand now that I've read through the manga and kind of gotten a feel for the story as a whole. I understand more the reason why it chose to do that, but I think it still would have done a lot better if they'd done just standard animation with it. Mm. Just give it to a good studio. Yeah. Who did do Flowers of Evil? What studio?
I don't know. Is it even in my anime list? Because it's not even... because it's not even an anime. I'm just joking. I know it's an anime. Zexified. It got Zexified. The same studio that brought you Bakuten and Framed Girls... No, that's the Frame Arm Girls. Sorry. Yeah, they just don't do really much.
Dear goodness.
Yeah, Frame Arm Girls. They did that crazy good show.
Did they do anything good?
No. Diabolic Lovers, Chris.
Diabolic Lovers.
Oh, there's your
Seriously?
your Chicken Lips show. Or they do it with somebody else? Yeah, your Chicken Lips show. I Say I Love You, your Chicken Lips show. I thought you would get
that was probably the only good one they did.
They did that before Flowers of Evil. That's the odd thing there. I like how you said that show is like a 6.8. Nobody likes your Chicken Lips show, Chris.
It wasn't Chicken Lips show.
Wasn't it the show where the kiss tastes like chicken?
Yeah.
Because it just came from the convenience store?
I think they did.
It came out of Conveni. Yeah, anyways, that's that. But no, yeah. Again, I want to make this perfectly clear before I go on to talk about this next thing that I want to hear Chris's opinion on. This is, quote unquote, a rumor. We don't know if this is true. It may be a leak. It may be completely a lie. I like to make sure that stuff is perfectly clear before I talk about stuff because I don't want to claim that it is real. Just go into this thinking that it is fake, and that way you're surprised later. But no, there was a tweet made out that the creator of Oreimo, My Little Sister Can't Be This Cute, the author and the illustrator are both working on a new light novel titled Watashi no Hatsukoi wa Hazukashi Sugite Dare ni mo Ienai, which is roughly translated to My First Love is Too Embarrassing to Tell Anyone, and it's supposed to release in January 2024. Ready for synopsis? Despite being handsome, smart, athletic, and rich with beautiful sisters, the MC has never attracted any girls. Determined to start anew in his high school, he wakes up one day as a cute girl and excitedly shares the news with his popular younger sister, unaware that sheer transformation has also affected her. I'm curious. It's obviously gender swap. I'm kind of curious is it a body swap? I don't think it's going to be a gender swap because I would think they would probably be very clear that he suddenly woke up in the body of his sister. So it's probably he does turn into a girl, and I'm assuming that she turns into a boy. But makes me wonder what the first
swap,
love is.
The body swap. Body swap seems more interesting, but yeah, that's
the body swap would be really really interesting. But no, Chris, what do you think his first love's gonna be?
Well, obviously, it's a sister.
His sister? You're not gonna think it's gonna be his self?
We know.
You think he's gonna fall in love with the boy?
If it's a boy, if it's a body swap, then yes, it would be. He would be falling in love with himself. But
he takes the body of his sister and then suddenly falls in love with her. I think that's a hentai, Chris. No, well,
pretty sure it is.
I'm just saying it could be. Well, my initial thought was that he can't seem to attract any girls, but even though he's handsome,
probably too intimidating.
And then I think when he swaps into a girl, I think he's going to fall in love with his female self. I don't think it could be the younger sister because she's going to turn into a boy, unless he could swing that way, and maybe he thinks his sister turned into a hot boy and suddenly fell in love. But yeah, I think I follow you there because who's the writer?
Yeah.
And they're obsessed. But I think what would probably happen is that the sister's going to fall in love with him.
Even Ero Manga Sensei, it was technically his sister, wasn't it?
Stepsister, yeah.
Yeah, his stepsister. And then Oreimo is, obviously, Oreimo, my sister. He fell in love with his sister. So, the guy obviously has a thing for... I hope he doesn't have a sister.
He does.
He does actually.
Yes, there's a whole controversy around that. I think at some point she said she was fine with it as long as she keeps that or something like that. It's kind of a weird conversation there. But no, I love the idea. I've been getting a kick out of lately a lot of these new stories that have obviously adaptations, and I'm speaking mostly based on the experience with Onimai. But I'm liking the newer gender swap stuff that actually has some good writing behind it. We had a lot of gender swap stuff back in the day that were just so throwaway. Absolutely throwaway shows. So hopefully this guy can pull off a good one.
It rarely digs into it. It has a habit of going into fetishism real fast.
Pretty much.
It doesn't really... There is, Inside Mario was one of the, strangely enough, this is actually a perfect reason to bring it up. Inside Mario, one of the main reasons why I really loved it so much is because, like I said, he has a knack for digging into taboo things in a lot of cases, things that are nasty, emotions that are nasty and stuff like that. Things that most people go, no, we don't touch that. He's fine with just delving into it.
Yeah, or they just turn into a punchline.
Yeah, Inside Mario is definitely one of those that actually does to me. Now, he does dabble more closer into the fetishism side.
Oh, yeah.
There's
a dirty side of it.
Yeah, the dirty side of it. So it's technically in the fetishism side, but he is digging into the emotions of it, not just, okay, now what? We've already got past that point. What does it mean to actually be a woman? And that's what he does. And hopefully you're right that it will be an actual digging into it. Onimai was special in its own right because it got into the cute and frilly of it, not necessarily into the fetishism side. So yeah.
Yeah, I think Onimai would be good in the idea that the original manga felt like it was more gag comedy, whereas the anime adaptation kind of took it to the realm of being, questioning it at the same time. Yeah, the cutesy side of it, and just diving into it, the experiences from it. So, and plus there was a lot of change in your life and moving forward into new things. So, yeah, we'll see. Like as much as Oreimo gets a lot of hate, I enjoyed it. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the ending, but at the same time, I enjoyed it for what it was. I kind of trust it.
Choice, supposedly. I think, but I never did actually watch past that episode. So,
alternatively, Eromanga Sensei, I found to be like that case where it's like, okay, we're doing this again, sort of, and I don't think you're doing enough good. Like, it has some fun, ecchi, and comedy in there, but when it comes down to the end of the day, it was like, Manga Sensei felt like a huge step back for them. So hopefully this one, if this is real, turns out to be better. So we'll see.
He's at least good at art. So
the artist is, yeah. The artist is really good. Anyways, what else? Yeah, HiDive. HiDive seemingly not doing good. And I wanted to bring this up here because, one, I want to get your opinion on this, but two, I kind of want to bring up a new subject on it. I made a whole video on this, but yes, HiDive pretty much emailed a bunch of people saying, hey, thanks for your contributions, but we're pulling out of your country. We're pulling out of your... we're pulling back. But yeah, as of December 31st of 2023, HiDive will be removing themselves from several countries, mostly in Latin America and like Germany. They're cutting back to basically just United States, Canada, Ireland, United Kingdom, and Australia. That's it. Just those ones. Which is pretty crazy. I mean, they made a whole initiative like just last year of going into a lot of regions in Latin America and stuff like that. And so it seems like a massive pullback. Essentially, what they said is they were continuing evaluating HiDive's offerings and our area of operation, and unfortunately, the service will no longer be available in those regions. Going forward, we will endeavor to make our content available to you via local platforms when possible. Please note you'll have full access to your library, blah, blah, blah. So they do technically indicate the idea that when they're evaluating this stuff, they're pulling back, but they're going to try to make some of their library available on other platforms. So what that means is that, yeah, technically they could hand over things like Oshinoko to Crunchyroll to stream it in, again, somewhere in like Latin America or Germany or something like that. Which I hope they do that. It does take a concerted effort on their part, plus other licensors. Like in a lot of cases, it might take a while for Crunchyroll to maybe go to them and say, "Hey, give us Oshinoko. You're out of here. Give it to us." It might turn into one of those things where they need to broadcast to them to say, "Hey, look, pick up these titles," or at least hand it over to them and say which ones you want. But that's going to take an effort on one or the other side. So hopefully that something happens there. Otherwise, they'll just go into obscurity, which is kind of unfortunate, but. Yeah, I will admit, my initial knee-jerk reaction is, this is not good. HiDive is possibly in trouble. So they may be pulling back in order to lower how many servers and translators they need to pay. But then as I looked into it more, I think I seen there was sort of an obvious sign that the fans weren't too happy with them. A lot of regions, the viewers weren't happy with their support. How they were releasing content with subtitles in their region. Big one I kept seeing was a lot of people with them lacking Spanish subtitles, but just releasing it in English altogether. And then, sort of an update, a little bird chirped in my ear and said that there is whispers about a bird chirping in somebody's ear, that a whispering happened from a cousin's brother's ex-nephew who turned the wrong direction on the street and seen a billboard that had a picture of a bird chirping in an ear that said there's a possibility the reason why they pulled out was because they couldn't find translators. I don't believe that. I don't believe that there's a lack of translators. It's easy to find translators. There's translators everywhere. You can find a person that says, I can translate this to this. Now, I can agree that translating Japanese to Spanish might be a little difficult to find. Pretty sure you can probably easily find a bunch of people that will translate English to Spanish or whatever other language you need. Finding somebody that can translate from English to anything else is going to be really easy to find because, unfortunately, I'm sorry, world, English is pretty much the biggest language in the world. Everybody pretty much, unfortunately, has to learn it. I apologize once again because it's a stupid language. Now, I can say that I still agree with that statement if they can't afford to get the translators. Like, they don't want to pay what the translators might be asking. That's where I'm more leaning to. Because that makes sense. Because what I'm assuming happening, this is my very mid-educated guess. Not too intelligible here, but at the same time, I know a few things. What I'm assuming happened is HiDive wanted to move out to these other regions. They wanted to get bigger. They expanded out to other regions. And they were like, okay, now we have to translate for them because they're going to want subtitles in their language. And they started getting people to work on stuff, but they were having trouble keeping that going. People got upset because their offerings were not good because they weren't getting out to them quick enough, so people weren't subbing. The subs went down. They didn't have enough money to distribute to buy more subtitles. And then over time, it kind of became a cause and effect. The lack of subs meant the lack of money. The lack of money meant the lack of translator. The lack of translator meant the delay in translations. And it kept going into the point until they finally gave up. So that's kind of where I'm thinking this whole thing went. And if that's true, and if this bird chirping in somebody's ear about a bird chirping in ears down a block on the billboard, then that means that possibility that HiDive is not doing bad. And I personally want that to be the case because I don't want HiDive going anywhere, despite the fact that I agree with a lot of people. I'm not 100% happy with HiDive services. I would love their website to be better. I would love for their apps to be better. But I still want them to exist. And I still want them to get better. And HiDive, if you're listening to this, get better. Stop losing what little people you have that are supporting you. Get better. Make your apps better. I said that when Oshinoko blew up, I was all over them. People, get your act together right now. This is your chance. Oshinoko is your chance. And I think they dropped the ball. Not just dropped the ball, I think they threw it down into a bottomless pit to come out in China. That's how bad they dropped it. Not that bad, but pretty close. Not that bad. Your thoughts on the whole situation, as you were trying to keep my dog from snoring the whole time.
There's a lot of things that I'm thinking.
I don't think much, but when I think about a lot of things, Andrew. You know what I was thinking about? This time I was thinking about a bird chirping in an ear on a billboard.
The stupid bird is chirping in everybody's ear.
That's a really fast bird.
They, I believe that they were probably setting themselves up as the competitor. At some point, they were trying to, obviously, they were going with the least common denominator by making sure that at least their main base, which is America, obviously, and a few of these other ones that are giving them their main subscriber base. At some point, obviously, things turned bad. They were probably already setting themselves up so that they would have the translations available when they're needed. But here's the problem. At some point, if y'all remember, and if you want to delete this, this is fine. I don't care. A writer strike happened. And writers started demanding more money. Okay? There's only so much money in the pot to go to these writers. So guess who gets the translations? The places that have the biggest subscriber base, which is English. Everybody else, sorry folks, if you ain't going to do it for less money, I can't pay you. Then they start getting backlash for not having translations. Well, I don't have a big subscriber base there. There's not enough to cover these licenses that I have to go for there. So I'm going to go and hunker down in the place that I know that I have a good solid standing in, and just hole up there. Maybe at some point they'll try and expand again, but right now they've got a freaking Titan standing over the top of them, and they've got to shore up as much of their selves as possible and make sure that they can keep on just slowly chipping away at that Titan, because otherwise they're going to go under.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with a lot of people that this is like a sign that Crunchyroll monopoly, and it's like, yeah, I do and I don't, because there's still stuff that HiDive is picking up, but I can agree that there's probably a significant amount that they would love to have. They just can't. I mean, they would love to have the biggest shonens. I mean, HiDive would yeah, heck yeah, give it to us. This is just not going to happen, unfortunately, and I, like I said, I do think that with the case of Oshinoko, that could have been their stepping block to find the next one. They need to have a team that really is looking very hard at what's coming up. Well, and get those titles that are big. And there's going to be a lot of them that are not going to be able to get no matter what, because, again, they're technically, Aniplex, Sony, or whatever produced, and so it's automatic go to Crunchyroll. But there's going to be a lot of cases where they might find something it's coming up that could be that next big hit.
And that's what I said back in the day with the I believe it was the when we were talking about manga and light novels and stuff like that, and I was saying in a lot of cases these companies are afraid of these things because they don't know what's the big title. They need to get somebody who's in touch with this stuff, so that they.
It's like interspecies reviewers.
Yeah, I mean,
like, how the hell did you not know that?
If you're not paying attention to what's coming down the pipe, yeah, there's 1.5 million light novels. I get that. There's 1.5 million web novels. I get that. But you'll have a step up. You'll know what's coming down the pipe. The people who are getting figures, you don't have to guess. Watch what's down the road. See what's getting hot, and then it'll all translate down the road, because you already have 15 different Eris figures, because you already knew 2 years ago that Eris was going to be big at some point. Now y'all missed out.
Being able to foresee that. I want to be that one guy that works for Crunchyroll that all he does is sit in this one room and has like manga all around him, and they open the door every now and then and goes, what? Hey, yeah, pick up Mushoku Tensei. Yeah, just grab that show. But just don't get that side of the hall involved with that one. That's gonna be, yeah, they're not gonna like that one. Yeah, it's an. I unfortunately don't. I think HiDive will be fine. I just have a feeling right now that HiDive's going to be fine. Yes, they're going to have a little bit of a bad rap right now. Actually, honestly, I think a lot of people are celebrating the fact they're pulling out of these countries because they weren't, again, providing fast enough subs. But I think them as a company, I think they're going to be fine for the time being. I think my bigger question is more around the idea is if they're going to, if they'll ever be able to get to a point where they're going to be significant enough, or if Crunchyroll is always going to keep them at bay. And I think the bigger question is going to be is if AMC themselves as a company is going to stay afloat and not stick their hands too much in there.
No, and that's why I said they're shoring up their business. They're making sure that they've got their toes covered, making sure that the steel toe is in there so that they're not going to lose. But all said and done, yeah, they're going to be fine. That's the whole point of shoring up their business and making sure their holes are covered. Now, are they going to be able to take down the Titan? I don't know.
Yeah, that's HiDive. I wish the best for them, and like I said, I want them to get better. I don't want to excuse their bad services or any problem that they might have, but I still want them to exist. I like I've said before, my biggest reason for wanting them to exist is more around the idea of, yes, it's competition, but it's like it's more in the fact of wanting to always have that person there, that one company there, that picks up all the stuff that Crunchyroll is not picking up. Because like I've always said, the moment that Crunchyroll knows they're the only dog in town, they're not gonna buy up everything. I guarantee you, for instance, tomorrow HiDive shuts down. They're like, we can't do it anymore. We're out of here. Bye, guys. Sorry, it was good. It was a good run.
I'm going to party. Period.
At that point,
Sorry.
Crunchyroll is the only dog. Yes, you have Netflix, but they're pretty much doing their own thing. Disney, they're done. So it's pretty much just Crunchyroll. Mm-hmm. Now, cut forward, I would say, give it a year. Crunchyroll, at that point, I bet you, will drop down to not having any more than, I would say, 60% of the season.
Yep.
They will license 60% of the shows, and the rest
the ones that they
don't
think
matter.
the ones that they think are proper.
Yep.
That they're
the only
okay
reason
with
right now they're hogging up all this stuff
is to cut out the other
is because they don't want anybody else to have it. If they only grab 50% of the shows right now, HiDive is going to be on that. And then HiDive has half of the licenses of the season, and thus it's more catalog for them. Crunchyroll wants to make sure that HiDive, companies like HiDive, wants to make sure their catalog's terrible. Whenever somebody says, well, I don't want to subscribe to HiDive, they only have like 3 shows this season. They would typically would have like 4 or 5 shows. I don't want to subscribe to them. They only have 4 or 5 shows. I can get so many more if I go to Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll's over there going, yep. They're like, yep, that's what we want. That's exactly what we want you to say. That's exactly why we're doing it. We don't want HiDive to have all those. But like I said, the moment that it's going to take about a year because they set up these licenses way in advance. So the moment that HiDive whatever falls, give it about a year, and suddenly you'll see that those licenses drop like crazy. It goes back to my point that I made in the idea of your money not going to anime, and I was pointing out the idea that technically Crunchyroll themselves as a company doesn't make buco's money. Because a lot of that sub cost is going right back in the shows every single week. They're licensing each episode that are costing them anywhere from $100,000 to $600,000 a week per episode for those shows. So if they can cut out those, they'll do it. They're just only doing it right now because they want you to make sure that they have all the shows. They're the biggest catalog right now. It's unfortunate.
They'll be making so much money once HiDive closes down.
They're already making so much money. Yeah, the cutting shows. Yeah,
oh, yeah.
They'll bank bucos, banking money. Anyways, yeah, our community. Let's answer some questions. You ready for some questions? You like questions? You like questions?
Let's see.
You like questions?
What do you guys got for me?
I like questions. Let's see. What do we have here?
Need more questions, by the way. Give us more questions.
Do we need more questions? I'm not going to say anything. Sure. Yes. Let's see here. Cesar says, what are your most recommended anime news sources? Obviously, you are one of my main sources, but wondering if you have any well-sourced sites, hopefully not social media profiles. Me and Chris, for a while, were trying to set up a really good system to essentially make our own source for that kind of stuff. And it's a very difficult process. I do get it from a lot of different sources. I have people that DM me. I have a Twitter feed. I have most all the major sites, like even Anime News Network, as much as we hate them. I have pretty much linked to all these sites. But the main thing that I tell most people is I don't use them. I don't use Anime News Network. I don't use Twitter. I don't use social media. I use them as aggregators, basically. The point is that the source isn't them. It's who they're sourcing. If there's no source, I don't talk about it. If they have a source, I go to the source, and then I translate it directly from them to get the actual, where they're actually pulling it from. Mainly, the reason why I do that is because, one, if they don't have a source, it immediately dies. 2, I like to get the word from the source's mouth rather than whatever the source, or whatever the site itself wants to translate it to. So I don't really have a good answer for you. Because I don't really have one particular place I go to. It's just, all I tell people is, look for the source. Look into the raw source. And again, that's mostly going to be a different Japanese website that is, you're going to have to translate through either DeepL, or you're going to have to use AI in order to translate it for you. So
yeah, I've got an automatic translator on my browser. I use Firefox. I know I'm one of the few people who use Firefox still.
What's Firefox?
Yeah, I know exactly. I actually have an actual automatic translator that all I do is I have a list of several different websites. When I was looking at those, looking up news, I would go to the actual Japanese website that is known for usually pop culture, stuff like that. Anime, there is some that kind of goes back and forth between anime stuff and the pop culture stuff. And I kind of try to look through a lot of that stuff. I built that list up by going to places like ANN or I want to say there was a couple of others like that would try to actually do anime news, and they all suck at it. So I would have to kind of just made my own list. And it was by literally going, like Andrew had said, go down to their source. You go down to the bottom and they'll say, this is where I got this information from. You go there and it usually is a Japanese site. And then you can kind of slowly over time build up a list of what places in Japan are talking about different things involved with anime. And after that, like I said, I have an automatic translator that will try to kind of make what they're talking about make sense to me. And so after parsing a lot of that, that's how I ended up doing a lot of that. It's usually Japanese pop culture sites.
Yeah. What else? We have The Wrath says, how much does sales count towards quality of a show? That sounds like bait. Is that a bait question?
How much
did we discuss this recently somewhere in the Discord, and now Wrath wants to bait us? That sounds like a bait question.
How does sales?
Yeah, how much does sales count towards the quality of the show? You know, whenever you have the carriage, and then behind the carriage there's a horse, and the horse is pushing the carriage.
So is this a chicken or the egg problem? Is that what you're saying?
Right, because you know the quality of the show is great if it sold 50 Blu-rays because yeah. So if they sell really good Blu-rays, they'll do a better job on the anime. You understand?
Okay. So
no, what my assumption, I don't know. Yeah, the joke, the possibly overly uncomplicating the question here is, how does the quality of the show, how does sales determine the quality of shows? It doesn't, because the show can't sell until it's produced, and then it's already produced, and then it sells. But you can make the argument this might be a more deeper understanding of the industry itself, and the idea of looking at a sales chart and going, okay, Bocchi the Rock sold insane amounts, whereas, you know, this show didn't sell very well. So does that mean that Bocchi the Rock is a higher quality show? That's a very tough question to answer, because a lot of these sales figures that you'll see for Blu-rays and stuff, multiple things can be contributing to it selling very well. Putting aside an odd case like Chainsaw Man, which I think got way too blown out of proportion. They sold it exclusively.
Is this a Chainsaw Man question? I got it.
Putting aside Chainsaw Man, because I think that's a massive unique case, because it was sold exclusively on their sword, their website, and those sales numbers did not get to the aggregators, because the aggregators call up the different stores. Putting aside that list with things like Bocchi the Rock and, you know, Mushoku Tensei or whatever other show, yes, the sales figures on those shows is not based on quality. There's a lot of shows that have insane production values that don't sell well. Then there's these other properties that just, they get a fandom, a very devoted fandom, and a lot of it has to do around music. Music's a really good way to get that. That's why Bocchi the Rock kind of took off. Music kind of helps it as well. You get that fandom that's willing to buy a product. And then there's the questionable side of this whole thing, where you have these companies know that. And so they specifically sell exclusivities at multiple different stores. So people will go, there is groups of people that will go around to every one of the stores and buy a copy at each one of them to get the extras, exclusivities, at every single store. I think Bochi did that. And that's why you typically sometimes will see those sales numbers just shoot up for certain shows because they get a fandom. They put something exclusive in there for multiple shows or for multiple stores. I've never really gotten a sense of a consistency when it comes to Blu-ray sales. It is so all over the place, and it typically just requires something hitting just the right spark, and it just happens. It's a lightning in a ball situation, because any more sales for Blu-rays are just garbage, and even still, it means nothing in the end. These Blu-ray sales don't really mean that much. I mean, it meant a lot to MAPPA because they wanted raw numbers from their fans. And they didn't really get that. They got enough to make them profitable, but they wanted more. But they wanted Jujutsu Kaisen numbers. That's all it really was. And Jujutsu Kaisen, that's a quality, visually quality show, and it sells really good, seemingly. Demon Slayer is always going to sell well. I don't know. I wonder if Blu-ray sales for Demon Slayers are good. I know the theatrical releases and stuff are insane.
I would assume that because I automatically assumed that because my thought immediately went to, you know, your big shonens, because your big shonens are always they're the ones that break the mold. They're technically not that great quality wise, but they do very, very, I mean, they're good. I'm not saying
they're a lot
bad.
better than they used to be.
Yeah. I'm just saying they're not technically, you know, I mean, they're not polished. Like, I mean, Unlimited Blade Works that's polish. Okay.
Demon Slayer, yeah.
Yeah. You dump
Jujutsu Kaisen recently not too polished, but that's production issues.
But at the same time, then you balance it against, okay, Dragon Ball Super, yeah, I mean, it does have a very high polish, but it's not perfect. But you're seeing my point. My point is not necessarily high sales does not necessarily equal.
But I don't think Dragon Ball's selling well. I have to go back. I'd be curious how well Dragon Ball Super even sold Blu-ray. I'd imagine not very well. Like who's collecting that still? Who's still collecting that series? I mean, if you think about it, with how much they pay for like 4 episodes on a Blu-ray in Japan, and now you're gonna buy the Dragon Ball series like that. Somebody's got some collection over there, and he's super proud of it. He's probably got like an entire room devoted to shelves of 4 episodes on a DVD all around the shelf. Of course, he probably went back to like VHS and everything, but it either way, you can't. You would want, the hope is to have a high quality show be the ones that sell well, but it doesn't. It really will all depend on the fandom in general. Some shows just kind of hit that itch, or some stories just hit that itch. I mean, for example, I love Labyrinth Harem. I absolutely adore that story. Love the show. Will it ever get the full-on 9-star or 10-star unlimited budget works treatment? No, it won't. It's not. No, nobody's going to give my show the time of day, but I love my show, and I will follow it to the depths of hell. I really, really love that show. That's the difference between a fandom and a high quality, you know, them dumping a whole bunch of money in it. They're the ones who are going to decide what they dump money into. Us fandoms, we're going to decide what shows we love, and those are going to be the sales. That's 2 different animals. You have 2 different sides of the same coin. They don't always equal each other. That's what I'm trying to say. The last way that I can read this is so funny. There's like 3 different ways of reading this question, the Wrath. I'm wondering if you did that on purpose. The last way I can see of reading this is how much the sales count towards the quality of a show in regards to a sequel. So, yeah, like if you have a case of a show that comes out as season 1, let's say Mushoku Tensei is a prime example of this. Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation comes out. Season 1, obviously, pretty damn good looking show, Chris. It was a freaking damn good looking show. Season 2 comes out. Do you think those sales numbers for the Blu-rays made them go, we're not gonna have as good of a season 2? Typically, I don't see this being a cause and effect, and I think it's more. I can see it being if a show has a large budget put into it for a first season, and then suddenly they don't have a lot of sales. Yeah, I can see them kind of dialing it back. But for most shows going multiple seasons, you usually see a consistency in the quality. I mean, there's cases where I see quality drops in certain shows going into separate seasons, but that's usually in a case where it seems like the studio swaps. One Punch Man obviously is going to be one that pops into a lot of people's minds, that going from the first season, which was pretty dang good looking, into the second season, not so good looking. Again, that's a studio change, and it's a director change, and it's a staff change. It's very hard to find cases where you have a show that goes from one season to another and it looks like there's an obvious drop, except for a change in studio. The only one that right now is jumping in my head is Mushoku. And I don't necessarily think that's a... I don't think that's a... it could be a production... It could be the studio not putting much money into it. That was my theory early on. But as I go along with it more, I kind of think it's just a staff thing. They could not keep a lot of staff members. There's a lot of issues in the background. And I think that was more of the problem that caused in that whole situation. It's hard to tell completely, but it seems to be that's more the case there. But I can definitely see that a lot of their choices are around them not putting as much effort into it this time around as they did this first season. First season, they gave them a lot of time to work on season 1 of Mushoku. And that's why I said when they first announced that it was going to come out when it did, I was like, ooh, that seems early. Summer? Really? That fast? Figured it would be a little bit longer. So, yeah. Yes and no. It can, because if the show doesn't do too well, they're not selling enough, they could drop it. But in most cases, they're just not going to make another sequel. So, snafu.
You were saying you couldn't think of another studio that went from one studio to another, and Snafu changed studios in that third season, if I remember right. I
don't remember that. I know that Durarara did, but that was the team kind of went off and did their own thing. Yeah, Durarara had a big drop, and that again was a studio change.
That one too.
Yeah, but that was really one of those cases where it was like, either we do it or nobody does it, because it was almost felt like they left just so they could make the rest of it.
Or the perfect example is Berserk.
Oh gosh, Chris. Gosh, way to throw salt on women.
The ultimate example.
Way to punch us all in the face, Chris. Anyways, yeah, that was a good question, The Wrath, even though I think it's just because we just don't know how we want to read it. LTG Coat says, do you guys think the second season of shows are less well produced if they go anime original? For example, Rosario Vampire second season was garbage compared to the manga's second season, and most recognizable one is Promised Neverland second season. I just want to know what you guys think.
Anime original is always bad.
Yeah, production-wise, I don't see it really having anything to do with it going original. The team itself is going to produce it well or not well. Now, yeah, the script work and everything, yeah. If they don't know how to write a good story compared to the original author, it's going to suck. That's the simplest simplest answer you can get.
I'm gonna throw this out there.
Apparently, the Promised Neverland writer was involved with that, but it just I don't think it worked the way they thought it was going to work. I mean, with Shadow House, technically season 1 had an original ending, or they didn't really original ending it. They sort of just kind of cut some things so that it kind of didn't raise too many questions. And so they kind of had to change that to kind of make a second season, because they didn't really know they were going to do a second season. But the author was involved, and so that did very well. But I can see a lot of cases where you don't have the author involved. Yeah, it's going to suck. But again, in a lot of cases, they do have technically, in a lot of cases, the author involved.
I'm gonna throw this out there because I don't hate anime original stuff. Okay,
I do.
I generally frown upon them. Let me put it that way.
I hate original endings. I don't mind original content.
Like
I seen a picture of Farron, Ara, Linnea, and Fern, and they were all in bikinis, and I was like, I want a Farron original OVA beach episode.
I generally frown on them mostly because it tends to confuse folks that are into kind of more canon type stuff. Like, for instance, the super frowned upon filler arcs in most of your shonens. Generally don't like them. Do I hate them? No. I really particularly liked the Bounto arc in Bleach. It's considered one of the worst arcs in the show. I kind of liked it. But I also understand it's not canon. Naruto has been told 15 times he can't use the Rasengan. Or is that what it was called? The stupid...
Something like that, yeah.
The spinny ball thing.
Spinny ball thing, I like that word
spinny
better.
Ball thing. He's not allowed to use that because it's going to kill him. Ichigo has lost his spirit powers about... yeah, his Zanbakuto like 15 times. That's the thing, is there's canon show.
They fired him from the Soul Society for the 15th time. You're kicked out of the Soul Society. You're stripped of your powers.
That's what I say.
And he has to rebuild it from the ground up by doing a training montage.
Yeah, training montage.
They'll stick him inside of a dollhouse.
And of course, the cat girl has to be there because she's cute and she looks really hot in a skin tight outfit. So we got to get
if she even has that on at the time. She changes out and she doesn't have it anymore.
No, and that's the thing is I generally frown upon them. I don't hate them usually. I just kind of look at them as kind of side stories or kind of fan stories or fan art that's been kind of shoved into the quote unquote official telling of the story. But I just kind of go with it. In a lot of cases, it's kind of fun to see different characters doing different other things. I really don't like it when they really go against what a character is generally known for. So if a character is Erza is being super weird one day and she's obsessed with not food and not her wardrobe. She's randomly obsessed with water for whatever reason, which is Juvia's thing. She should be obsessed with the water. But Juvia's super obsessed with Gray, so we know that's if she doesn't have to worry about water, she's worrying about Gray. So, but Erza's randomly obsessed with water, and so everything gets weird because some guy randomly decided. No, never mind. That's a normal episode of Fairy Tail. So let me just shut up now.
Actually made it up. There's so many episodes. There's so many episodes like that. That's pretty much what Vane was asking about too. He says, doesn't original content mean that it's more content of the stuff that you like? People hate it, but why is sometimes do we dislike it? Doesn't have their own. I don't know what the last part of that is, but yeah, I'm very mixed on it because I think we've been so kind of built around the idea of. We used to like it because we just turned on an episode every week on television, and Goku's now trying to do something on the farm, and you just kind of watched it. You didn't know what it was. You assumed it was part of the story. It wasn't until we learned about the sources and people started getting the source material that they go, "Oh my gosh! So they didn't even write that? It stained my perfect story." There's like this one group that's just like, you're not allowed to put your story into my perfect canon of the perfect writer who wrote this perfect story. Get those other writers out of his business. You're staining it. There's the most audience members that are like, we didn't even know. When we watched through Naruto, we didn't even know. When we watched through Dragon Ball, I mean, Naruto's when I think we started paying attention to that kind of stuff. I think with Bleach, I think we were pretty aware of that kind of stuff. At some point, people started getting aware of it. And I think it's always a give and take. There's one half where it's like, if it works, it works. And yeah, like you mentioned, it makes sense that if it works, you're going to enjoy it because it's more of what you want. You want more story. You want more character moments. You get to see all these weird characters. I mean, that was kind of the reason why there was part of me that liked a lot of the Bleach stuff, was like, I get to see a lot of these characters that I don't normally see. Bleach was a rare case of that. Yeah, there was a lot of cases where the stories they were doing were actually pulling in characters that we don't normally see. And again, it is an aspect of, yeah, it's more content for these characters. I think if you like the story enough, and I think if the original writers involved enough with it, it's fine, because you're still going to enjoy it if you like the story and the characters. I just think that a lot of us has been kind of burnt a lot by this stuff. I think Naruto did a lot of that. I admit, I hated a lot of Naruto's fillers. It was partly why I think eventually I got burned out on it. I hated the filler in that series. Hated it. But not necessarily to say that it's bad. Like, I could say there's a lot of stories that I like that if they said, hey, we'll make another season, but it's going to be filler, would you take it? And I go, well, is the writer decently involved? Then sure. As long as the writer can say yes or no to certain storylines they're doing, I'm perfectly fine with it. Getting more of my characters, sure. If Bind came out the next day and said, we're going to make an entire spinoff of Roxy that's not Roxy Gets Serious, I'll say, heck yeah, let's see what you can do. It's not going to affect the story there. Then that's the same case for like the Naruto stuff and the Bleach stuff. You don't have to watch it because you know that it's filler, but if you want to, it's there.
Yeah.
Obviously, people get concerned in the idea that it's pulling away from the real content. Like, if they do a spinoff of Roxy, why are they pulling those resources away from Mushoku? So we already had that problem with Onimai and Mushoku, and everybody's saying that Onimai took away talent from Mushoku. It didn't. Different team, different people. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I just was pretty much in the same in agreement with you. As I like I said, I don't hate filler. I just generally frown upon it, and I'll just take it what I get.
People talking in the questions area again. You're allowed to go to the submit questions area in the Discord and submit your questions, but please don't be like bad people who's there in conversation in it.
They're doing it just to spite you now.
I'm going to call them out publicly. Vaone and Popriv. Shame. Shame. Shame.
We need a ring. Ding ding.
I'm just gonna
ding,
skip
ding, ding.
all the way past all. Look, I even called him out right here. Just make sure you. Yeah, I yelled at him. Let's see. Let's see if Haunt wants. Haunt says, "Are you planning on giving your thoughts of Mushoku Tensei CD drama for light novel 12 once you finish covering the volume?" Apparently not, because I'm in 15 right now. So, oops. But no, eventually I will. I'm focused on staying on the train tracks. Like, I'm just gonna keep doing the novel. I'm going to go all the way from 1 all the way to the end. And then I'll talk about the rest of the stuff. I get messages all the time. People say, are you going to do this side story? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do the CD drama? Are you going to do this? It's like, no, I'm just going to keep on this path. Like, I even had a temptation of picking up Roxy. I mean, you know how badly I want to read Roxy Get Serious. You know, about super bad. The moment that everybody said I was cool for jumping into Roxy Get Serious, and I'm like, but I want to know if there's any spoilers at the end of the series. So I'm going to wait for that. But even then, I'm still staying on course, reading the numbers. I don't want to look at anything else. There's like people going, oh, here's this video made for this point in the story. And it's like, I'm not watching it because I don't know if they're going to slip something in there or somebody just doesn't remember what's spoiler and what not. I'm keeping super harsh away from anything with Mushoku. You guys have no idea how much I am panic hiding.
Even when I went through it, I went through it completely with not looking out at anything else. And yeah, I don't blame you. Just keep your nose on the grindstone.
On the ground. I want it on the ground.
It is hard. I mean, especially with the section that Andrew's in right now. I'm so thrilled to finally hear him talking about the stuff that I've been wanting to hear him talk about for a long time.
Ira left the message. Why? Why would Ira leave a question? People always talk about shows that are better on rewatch. or shows you wish you could see for the first time again. But what about the other end? Is there anime that you rewatched and ended up liking it less because of it, and so why? So you watched the show, you liked it, but then you watched it again and now you don't like it.
I don't think that happens.
Yeah, I have way too many examples of shows that I watch a second time and it works out. Like, it's, again, Eccentric Family. Holy crap, I hated that show the first time. I so hated that show the first time I watched it. What was the other big one that I was like so shocked that I loved it the second time around?
It wasn't. Couldn't have been those ones because you just didn't finish them, and I forced you to finish them.
Forced me to finish them? What? Sunday Without God?
No, you never did finish that one, did you?
We watched Sunday Without God. No, not Sunday Without God. I was thinking.
I was talking about Madoka Magica and Yonder.
Oh yeah, that technically Madoka Magica. I watched the second time and I enjoyed it.
Steins Gate. You did.
What was the movie?
Steins Gate.
I just had to get past the first half. That doesn't count. It wasn't like.
Well, and that's what I was saying.
Point made here. It wasn't the fact that I watched it again and I enjoyed it.
It was that I forced you through.
The first half still sucks.
Yeah.
That didn't change. So it technically doesn't. It doesn't really change anything because the first half always sucks.
And that's what I was saying is
For me.
you didn't watch them a second time. You just finished them. And I was thinking of Yandere Girl, but you never started that in the first place. So,
yeah, that's a super tough question. Now I will say there's a lot of cases where I have massive rose tinted glasses for older content. Escaflowne. Escaflowne is a prime example. There's a lot of cases where, yes, you watched the first time, it was incredible. That show was incredible in the 90s. And then we finally got our copy from Funimation after I paid a god-awful amount of money for their stupid Kickstarter before them to sell it for cheaper to everybody else who didn't Kickstart it. I'm going to bring that up every time. I'm going to make a point of it. That show wasn't so good.
They're dead, Andrew. It's okay. They're gone.
They're not dead. They're still there. They're slowly moving their catalog. I swear. I need to tell that to Web Gaming because Web Gaming always brings up he's monitoring it. Like he's keeping an eye on how many shows are coming over and what shows are left. I should probably just tell him, they're doing it slow because there's one guy left in that office and he's going, yes. Click. Drag over to Crunchyroll domain. Drop.
I have to sit here and wait for my really, really slow internet.
97% unplug Ethan. Oh no!
Computer just crashed.
No. Click. Drag. He's just taking his sweet time.
I have to order a new Ethernet cable. My cable just broke again.
That mouse. We have a mouse in here and he's eating the wires. But no, Escaflowne was a good example. And I mean, that was the same case with a lot of the older Gundam. But I know this is like a totally isolated case. This is literally these older shows that they age well, but they don't. Pacing doesn't age well in a lot of cases. But they're not as spectacular as the storytelling that we really get today. Yes, there's a lot of garbage these days, but we don't really realize just how much shows these days and stories these days just keep moving. They want to keep you moving, keep pushing you forward. And that wasn't really the case back in like the 70s and stuff. You watch the original Gundam and it's like 2 times speed, please. Okay, now this feels normal. You have to turn it to I think we're pretty good at like 1.5 speed. I mean, not super fast, but 1.5 speed was like...
we were able to get it up to almost...
was it 2 that we were going... I remember one of them, I bumped it up, I think, to 2 or something like that, just to make it feel like normal. It was so... It was like, move! Like, character move! Talk faster! It was like... You can feel it. But yeah, it's hard to say that I'd ever go back to rewatch a show and feel a negative thought of it. I think a lot of people might have that feeling based on their taste changing over time. And I do have to admit there is a fear that I have of watching older shows because I don't want to break that effect. I don't want to rewatch Armitage because I'm afraid of breaking that effect. I'm afraid of watching Akira because I'm afraid of breaking that effect.
No, Armitage is still awesome.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I think for most cases, what ends up happening, and again, it happened with me with Project Echo. I went back and watched it again after I bought the release that they did of it, and I was like, you know what? This is fine. But it's not the memories that I have of it. The memories I had of it was watching it with my friend way long time ago, and us just having a blast with it because it was so crazy and a little bit edgy, very slight edgy, and we loved it. I'm afraid of watching Tenchi Muyo. Would I enjoy it as much as I used to because I'm not sitting with my friend or sitting with Chris and just laughing about how stupid this scene is, and he's talking about pickles and ice cream.
Nobuyuki sucks.
I'm afraid of that kind of stuff. I'm afraid of kind of losing that rose-tinted glasses effect. So
yeah, and that is there is that aspect. I think back on some of the because we talk about Record of Lotus a lot. Whenever somebody asks about fantasies and how we would like a retouch of what shows we would like continued or redone, and Lotus keeps getting thrown out there a lot, and one of the main reasons why is because going back to it, while it still has its air of mystical, it just doesn't have the same polish that the shows that of today have, and it's so. It needs that. It needs what's his name?
Kendra Suda.
Yeah, Kendra Suda. That would be awesome. Freaking
Par needs to be Kendra Suda.
Yeah. No. Kendra Suda needs to be in there. I'm thinking the Berserker guy.
Yeah, that would be good.
He would be Kendra Suda as him would be awesome.
Yeah, and then his girlfriend would be Naoto Toyama. That'd be perfect. Naoto Toyama and Kendra Suda would be great.
Yeah.
No, she'd probably be better as Aoyuki.
We would have no. Aoyuki has to be the Grey Witch.
Yeah.
Come on.
Who for Deedlit though? Ueda maybe. I mean, there's a lot of options for her. I'm not sure exactly what would fit her. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Redos
that suck. When you rewatch that sucks.
Rewatch that sucks.
Rewatch that sucks.
I don't know. I don't. It's one of those things that I think that the best category would be the old stuff because you got the
didn't age well. The pace sucks.
The didn't age well. The pace sucks. The fact that our tastes have changed over time. There's the aspect of that we were new to anime at the time, and we've not, for a lack of a better term, forgive me for saying it this way because it sounds so super elitism, but we've refined our taste. It really has. I mean, I'm absolutely almost 100% on board with KyoAni is the top dog, but they don't release very often, so it's very rare that I get that special gem that is KyoAni. It's kind of like that. It's not necessarily that everybody else sucks. It's just that my tastes have leaned towards that company as being the one, or that studio as being the one that most of the time, whenever they put something out, as long as it's not a boy band show, I probably love it.
Just this one specific detail as one thing. Just keep away from this. Don't do it.
Even then, I don't hate it. I just I get bored of it after a certain point, and it's not because it doesn't look visually impactful. I just get bored.
So if you had a K-On boys club, you wouldn't watch it?
Maybe not. I don't know. Like I said, I don't hate it. It's like Tsurune. It's not that I hate it. I just haven't gone back to it.
Oh god, such a good show. The second season was so freaking good.
I know.
It's
I
so
know.
freaking
It's going to be amazing. I got to get back to it.
I was surprised. For those that don't know, yes, our Discord, we have our picks going on for our anime of the years, going through each of these different categories. And yeah, when that season came around, I was very shocked how many Tsurunes came up. So I was like, oh, good on the community. They're keeping up on Tsurune.
I need to get back to it.
Didn't hear whispers anywhere else, but at least you heard
I did,
it there.
and even when I was watching it, I didn't hate it. It was right there when I started working it, wasn't it?
The second season?
No, the first season. The second season was
the first season a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Then why did we fall off of it?
I don't know. I didn't. I watched the first season. I thought you watched the first season as well. I didn't like the ending of the later part of the first season. And it might have been the fact that I was so negative on the first season's ending that I may have pushed you away from wanting to watch it.
Maybe I don't remember. I don't remember.
I was hyped
falling
on
off
second.
of it. I know I didn't start the second season.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I couldn't give you really any answers, Ida. So we turned it into a better. We've turned into a different.
I don't
subject.
remember hating it. When did I hate it? You're messing me up.
Did I say that you hated it?
I don't remember hating it.
I don't think I said you hated it. I said, if anything, if you didn't finish it, it might have been the fact that I was negative on the ending and you may have not gone to it.
I don't remember.
You remember the whole situation where you had the glasses boy, the main guy, and something happened in their past, and then it kind of gets in this whole thing where, like, a car accident, and
I know that they were going to a tournament. I remember them going to a tournament.
Yes, Chris.
And they met the other boys, and the other boys were
they
weird.
met boys, and they're weird. Yes, that. And they guess what?
The boys were they knew the past. They knew his past.
They shot an arrow.
No.
Yes. And guess what? It went into the target.
There was an eagle.
But
there was a bird.
What?
There was a bird. I remember the bird.
The whistle.
The whistle.
The Tsurune. Yeah, I guess we'll cut it. Let me make sure that we did Ida's question. People always talk about shows that are better on rewatch, or shows you wish you could see for the first time again. But is there any? But the end, if you any anime that you rewatch and ended up hating it or liking it less, and if so, why? Okay. Yeah, like I said, I think it's really only
that's what's going to happen to me with Wolf's Rain. I'm gonna watch Wolf's Rain again, and I'm gonna hate it.
Oh, Spice and Wolf. That was another one that I watched again, and I was like, yeah, I love this now. First impressions, I didn't like it. That was the other one I was trying to think of. So Eccentric Family and Spice and Wolf for sure were shows that I hated, and then I rewatched, and I was like, man, I love this.
Did you see that?
What?
I loved Wolf's Rain, and I could totally see myself watching that again today and hating it.
I think the only thing I had a problem with back then was the later part of it. The ending was like weird, but other than that, it was good. It's got a great
I almost
OP.
can't remember much of anything of that show.
People turn into dogs.
Yeah,
and then they bite each other.
I remember them turning into wolves, Andrew. They didn't turn into dogs.
Well, it's technically wolves turning into people, but yeah.
And the guy's name was Kiba.
And there was that old hunter dude, and he had the like old wise dog. Yeah, I think it was
remember that.
Was an older one.
I just remember the girl with the red eyes.
There you go. There you go.
I don't remember what her name was. Probably Shiro.
I can see some. I can honestly see some shows. I can honestly see there's a lot of shows that I don't think I'll ever rewatch because I think they are not so much like it's a unique experience that you're watching it the first time, but I think that it is inherently slow that a rewatch might not be as immersive and something you're going to get to sit through. Because I have no better example right now, something like the earlier episodes of Frieren. Yes, artistically, it's still appealing to watch through, but I can see a lot of people seeing it as being slow enough that you might not want to sit through it. I personally, I'm mixed on it, but there is an atmospheric aspect of certain shows that unless you're into it for the artistic value, a rewatch of it might not be as appealing. So just a random thought. I don't think it really would affect Fearin, but it's a good example. So anyways, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's all we're doing. Questions?
We're not going to answer. We're not going to answer. We're not going to answer any more questions. Ira gets the final call.
Are you lying to me? There is no less questions.
I don't know anymore because I'm scrolling. I can see a lot of messages, but I don't know if they're questions. That's the problem. I don't know how many of these are questions.
Guys, Andrew is having problems with the whole question thing. We need more questions. We need less talking. We need more questions.
Exactly.
So Andrew doesn't sit here and pull his hair like he's doing right now.
And then Ira, and then I can somehow bait Ira into going into the submit questions area and just delete all the non-questions, so I never have to bother with them again.
No, don't do that to Ira.
Adrian would love to do it. I bet I can get Adrian to do it.
Don't do it.
He loves deleting. He loves deleting messages. You watch it Mushoku Monday, and you see that guy going to town on the chat.
Okay. y'all start deleting messages. I'm gonna start disabling people from taking away messages.
No, I legit told Adrian to do that in the Mushoku Monday channel. So that's his
in the Mushoku
job.
Monday channel is a different animal.
But that could happen in the submit question too, because the rule is don't talk in the submit question area.
Okay, guys, delete your own freaking post.
Yeah, I mean, it's like somebody goes, hey, and there's every now and then somebody just kind of pops in there and is like, oh, I want to answer that question. And it's like, I understand that, like, you see a good question.
Can't you right click and put it in a separate thread or something like that?
No, don't create threads in the submit question area. I don't want a bunch of threads in there. But no, I can I would just jump over to another channel that it's supposed to be in a general or anime and just go at person. I like to answer that question. But yeah, or just delete it afterwards. Just answer it, just delete it. Anyways, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, that's it. That's the podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. As per usual, we're at otakuspirit.com. That's where all of our links are. Social media links, way to get a hold of us, way to support the channel through Patreon, tips, links, all that good stuff. Greatly appreciate everybody that supports the channel, either by watching the content, listening to the content, all that kind of stuff. It seems like the music podcast episode that I did via video seemed to do well. I didn't get much feedback. Nobody wants to say. Had 3 people give feedback, so apparently everybody likes it because they didn't say anything bad. Because these days, if you're not going to hear from people unless it's bad.
So Spotify is okay with us doing video?
Yeah, I mean, they did it.
Cool.
I don't know if it worked. I mean, I watched it. It seemed like it was working well. I'd assume everybody else it was working well because, again, they didn't say anything bad. Because people only get feedback whenever it's bad.
Aww.
But anyways... Again, we're at Otaku Spirit. We're also on youtube.com/Otaku Spirit. That's where I do all the video content stuff. And yes, you can even get this podcast there. And every Monday doing Mushoku Monday, where I'm reading through the novel series, which currently we're in some stuff in, I'm just going to say we're in stuff in volume 15. Every Sundays, I do a Mushoku Sunday, where I do a skipped content for the anime onlys. And like I said before, currently I'm covering Apothecary Diaries, which has been a lot of fun. Frieren, which is amazing. Arknight, which is ending this week. Eminence Shadow. 100 Girlfriends. Who really, really like you.
Eminence and Shadow is ending?
No, I'm saying the shows I'm covering this week. Are you paying...
I was stuck on the nuclear bomb that was the ending of 14 and the beginning of 15 that Andrew...
No, I think we have 3 more episodes of Eminence Shadow. No, we have 12 episodes total, and we're on episode 7 was last week, or was it episode 8 last week? I think it was 7.
I don't remember.
So I think we have 5 episodes for the final arc.
I just know that poor Delta was left out there digging.
The hell is that about, dude?
Poor Delta.
Did you catch that, or did you get my rant on the video?
No, I caught it too, but yeah, poor Delta.
I'm like, I am already not liking this dude this entire arc. And then he literally goes, find something. I'll give you a gift, whatever you want, but I can only give you certain things. I can't give you everything. And he leaves. He just And she found something
And she
too.
found something.
Which she shouldn't find anything because there shouldn't be anything in there. So now I'm wondering what she found. But the point still is I want to strangle that dude.
Right?
Sid, not my friend right now.
He doesn't belong in that show. I just want, yeah. The only reason I like him is because of his delusion is making Shadow Garden have stuff to do. And I love Shadow Garden.
I think Rentaro should be sekai'd into his place. Rentaro would make all those girls happy.
Rintaro from
100 Girlfriends.
Okay,
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy.
He's brutally honest.
Yeah, he's a good boy.
He's almost as honest as the guy from the other show.
Girlfriend?
Yeah.
He's not honest. I mean, he's honest, but he's not like stupid honest like him. Yeah. What's the guy's name from Girlfriend?
I can't think of it.
Rage?
I'm trying to get the girl to say
Yes,
it.
her scream his name.
Yeah, her screaming his name. I know Saki Saki.
Keitaro? Anyways, somebody will message or leave a comment saying
2 episodes today too.
Anyways, yes, that's all that's going on right now with the YouTube channel. I'm currently looking to do if I can get caught up with all this stupid ISP problems.
Why is it Keiichi coming into my brain over and over again?
If I can get the time, I want to do my what's currently good in Japan, aka your favorite anime sucks in Japan. I'm looking to do that here soon, and like I said, I'm hoping to do my live stream this Thursday for best girl of the season tier list, new cam link and everything like that. So hopefully the video quality and everything will be better. And I'm like gonna unbox this thing that I got from Web Gaming, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So hopefully, if the internet is still good, then we'll be doing that this Thursday. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. But until the next time, y'all take care.
Os.